A possible break in a high-profile unsolved murder case.
Yeah, Lanise, an accused drug kingpin who briefly escaped jail yesterday, named as a person of interest in the murders of Tony and Layla Lewis. They're the grandparents of local rapper HoneyKomb Brazy.
Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about HoneyKomb Brazy. Now, HoneyKomb Brazy has been a big topic in hip-hop since that fateful night back in February when his grandparents' house got burned down. Well, there's some new developments in that story, and we're going to be getting right to this information. Now, it looks like there is a person of interest in this case. And his story alone is enough for some type of mini-series or movie about, you know, just the Dillons in Mobile or hip-hop or regardless, man. When I say this story has deep layers and some heavy hitters in it, you won't even believe it. But we're going to get to the specifics today. Now, before we do all that, man, what we'll do is we're going to talk a little bit about HoneyKomb Brazy and how we got to this point right here and talk about his federal indictment that went down last week. Now, before we get to the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this HoneyKomb Brazy situation and this person of interest in the burning of the house case that they had. Now, for those of you who don't know what's going down or been living under a rock lately, back in February, there was this crazy situation that took place, man. There was a couple by the name of Tony and Layla Lewis. Now, there were some elderly people who were in their home and were shot and the house was burned. Even in the news report that they had, and I'll play a little bit of that, it was said that, you know, the grandfather was definitely shot and the house was burned up and they lost their lives in the process. Now, there was a wide group of speculation about why this took place, and a lot of people pointed fingers towards their grandson, who happens to be a local rapper there in Mobile who has a national following by the name of HoneyKomb Brazy. Now, HoneyKomb Brazy is a well-known artist, signed to rap a lot, and he carries a lot of drama with him, man. Some of it doesn't even seem like he instigates any of it, because even the times that I've seen online where they said he had issues with other rappers in Mobile, he's either gone online to kill it immediately or squash it and say his piece. Like, for example, when they said he had a problem with No Cap, he went to social media and said, nah, he respects No Cap, and told why. Now, in his situation with his grandparents, there has always been eyes on this case, you know, been new developments each and every week, but things went cold the last couple of months. Nobody knew if anybody would ever get charged with this crime because, man, when it comes to street stuff, a lot of times, man, people don't get charged, people don't get arrested, but it looks like there's definitely a person of interest. Now, Fox News there in Mobile, Alabama, they put out a story last night, and it was breaking news, and I'd like to say, man, it's a finger pointing at one suspect specifically, or one person, one potential suspect, because he's not a suspect, he has not been charged with anything, right? I want to clear that up. He's a person of interest. But the story starts off, and the heading says this: accused drug kingpin who escaped from jail is person of interest in murders of HoneyKomb Brazy's grandparents. Stop right there. Now that's just the title, and it gets deeper than that. So you have an accused drug kingpin who escaped from jail, and he's also the person of interest in the HoneyKomb Brazy's grandparents' house burning and the shooting and stuff. Those are three huge topics on their own, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. Now, in this story, it starts off by saying this: an accused drug kingpin who briefly escaped jail on Tuesday is a person of interest in the murders of Tony and Layla Lewis, the grandparents of rapper HoneyKomb Brazy. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. And already it's like, whoa, how in the world did he escape from jail? It's like, how is that even possible nowadays? But man, I guess it happens more often than we think. You know what I mean? Now, the story continues to say, for the first time since the couple was killed in their home, Fox 10 News has learned that detectives are taking a hard look at 40-year-old Darren Southall. He's currently behind bars facing federal drug charges. So I guess he's like, we'll stop there too. I guess he's locked up for federal drug charges, and if they're calling him a kingpin, it must be on the big level. You know what I mean? Now it says the husband and wife were found dead inside of their Happy Hills home in February. Neighbors said they heard gunshots before their home exploded. Okay, and just to catch some of you up, there was a lot of speculation about why the house caught on fire, and it seems like even HoneyKomb Brazy took to social media and threw in his opinion on it and said that they were shooting in the house and some type of oxygen tank blew up, and that's what caused the house to catch on fire. You know what I mean? And that's when they sent that video to him, you know, showing the house on fire, whatever. Just a horrible story, man. I mean, if you want just more information on it, because it's a lot, man. It is a lot. Hey, all the developments, check out my catalog and just look at each of the videos, man. And I went over this like step by step, each thing as it took place. You know what I mean? Each new development. And just like I'm going over this development now. So let's continue with the news story, man. So the news story says, hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man, and I know you enjoying this video, but make sure you go and you follow me on social media platforms like Instagram, and also go to my Twitter page and make sure you hit that follow button there so you can get the latest and greatest updates of when I'm dropping my videos. And man, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button so we can spread this video around, and we trying to get 2,000 likes, so run them likes up. All right. So the story continues like this. It says, investigators believe their murders were in retaliation for a beef local rapper HoneyKomb Brazy, whose real name is Nashawn Jones, had with someone. Now, Mobile Chief of Staff James Barber said South Hall is a person of interest in the case. Another source close to the investigation said the killings may have been a murder for hire. Let's stop there. Now, there's always been speculation that this was a murder for hire, and HoneyKomb Brazy originally went out on his own and said that, man, there was a bag on his head. It was like one of the very first videos I ever did about HoneyKomb Brazy. This was well before this situation even took place, but he put it out there like, yo, there's a bag on my head in my city, and there's a big reason for that. If you want to hear about that, check that video out. But it's crazy when this happened, you know, all those things lined up, and it seems like even with the authorities, they believe there was a bag put down in order for this to be carried out. You know what I mean? The house fire and the whole shooting and everything. Now it continues to say, Barber said South Hall is a dangerous man who has been in and out of jail since the 1990s. He's currently accused of being a drug kingpin in an organization accused of selling all sorts of illicit substances in the Mobile area. He was in Clark County Jail on those federal charges until he escaped on Tuesday. After he was recaptured, South Hall was taken to the Baldwin County Correction Center in Bay Mint. Now, it looks like this dude has a crazy rap sheet, man. And the charges that he's facing, kingpin charges, are not for play, man. Now, obviously, Mr. South Hall is innocent until proven guilty. So I'm going to say that. But, man, it seems like, man, this case is wild to say the least. Now, they also say in the story, they continue by saying, South Hall has not been charged with anything connected to the Lewis murders and is only considered a person of interest. Investigators believe several people were involved in the cold-blooded crime, and police are still asking the public for tips that could crack the case. Now, the story continues, or I should say, it ends by talking about HoneyKomb Brazy's own issues with the law right now. Like, he was indicted last week on having a substance on him that's legal in some states and not in others, and he was over the legal amount for personal use, and he also allegedly had a firearm on him. So he's in jail as well. Hopefully, they're smart enough to keep all these folks away from each other and separated, and I'm pretty sure they are because, you know, they've got so many cases running together, so many people involved in all this, man. This is a real mess and a crazy revelation in this case. Now, what's even crazier is, you know, that somebody who is considered to be a person of interest hasn't been charged and is not a suspect, but they're trying to put the puzzle together and say that this was like a ongoing thing. Like, people were working together in order to get this carried out. Like, different organizations, maybe even different groups. And so when HoneyKomb Brazy said he was the most hated man in his city, he wasn't lying, man. Now, I know he has his fans and he's got the folks who look out for him and the folks who got his back, We obviously seen with the one shooting video that they had, he's got homeboys or whatnot. But it seems like, yeah, if any of this pans out, that there was a lot of people who were aiming for HoneyKomb Brazy, or even just, took part in this horrible situation involving his grandparents. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think that Mr. Southall is innocent until proven guilty and he probably had nothing to do with this or whatnot? Or do you feel like, man, all these things are starting to fall in place and together, and eventually we'll see who had carried out whatever took place that night? You know what I mean? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.